What is up everyone, JJ here, and right now I'm getting my film roll developed at a lab, so I have about an hour to spare, so I decided that I'm going to use this time to talk to you guys about film photography and one of my most frequently asked questions, which is how I take photos at night. First of all, I want to say that I use a specific film roll to get the glowy look, and you guys should get it too, which is the 800 ISO Portra or the 800 ISO Cinestill. The reason why I'm saying 800 ISO is because that's the most important part, because ISO is the sensitivity to light. And in order to get the glow from LEDs and get that really like nostalgic dreamy look at night, you're gonna need an ISO that is about 800. There's gonna be a little bit of glow for 400 and 200, but it's really not comparable to the glow of 800 ISO, so I would recommend that if you're going to take photos at night. You can also take photos at night with 400 and 200, you're just not going to get that look. And you can take photos at day with the 800, but it's also not going to give that look as much. So get an 800 ISO, and I use Cinestill and the Portra 800. Portra 800 is a little bit more, I'd say, neutral colors, and it's colorful. I'm not going to say it's neutral, but like it's a lot less red than Cinestill, and Cinestill makes normal LEDs look red, and it has kind of a blue tint a little bit on some of the photos. I'd recommend you to try both. They're quite expensive, so make sure that you're making the most of it by watching this video and knowing tips on how to take night photography. So let's go into the second tip, which is use a tripod. And why I say use a tripod, especially for film photography, is because the ISO is already decided and it's already set in place with the 800 ISO or whatever ISO you're using. And unlike digital, you can't just raise the ISO so that you can take photos with using high shutter speed, right? You have to go low shutter speed for film photography, and if you're holding it by hand, a lot of the photos are going to be blurry. You can get lucky and get like a couple like not blurry ones, but I usually play it safe and take photos with a tripod, because then even if the shutter speed is low, I don't have to worry about, you know, having the blur. I messed up my first roll at night by taking everything by hand, and a lot of the photos were blurry that would otherwise would have been so nice, and I regret it. But I'm telling you guys now so that you guys don't regret when you're taking those photos at night. The third tip is actually that you don't need flash. A lot of people are asking me, oh, do you take these photos with flash on? And I've never actually taken a night photo with flash because I haven't bought a flash to put on my cameras. And although flash is nice for getting a specific kind of look, for mine, which is more street photography, I really don't use flash because I don't have a subject to put the flash on. For portrait photographers, flash is used a lot because the face is all bright and it looks cool and it looks a little grungy. And yeah, so people use flash for that. But I don't do portrait photography at night a lot of the times, and when I will, I'll get a flash, but for now, I don't use flash. So you don't need to get a flash to do photos at night, so there's not many excuses. So all you need is a tripod and a camera, of course, and a film roll. The next tip I have is to use your environment to your advantage. At first, I was just taking photos at night without really looking at city lights and other places of interest. It's really, really important because photography is all about light. It's capturing light and you're putting light into the film. So no matter what, even if you're doing a dark setting or whatever and you're trying to go for that noir look, you still need light, regardless of what it is, or it's just going to be a black photo, right? And when you're out in your environment, you really got to look out for light. What I do is when I'm walking around, I look for neon signs, LEDs, people with, you know, flashlights or whatever kind of lights that they have on them. And that really makes your photos interesting, and especially because you're using 800 ISO, if you listen to what I said, you're gonna get that glowy look with those lights. So lights are the most important. So I usually go to places that have a bunch of neon lights, or I could go to like a fast food restaurant with like a McDonald's sign that lights up. And it really depends on what you're looking for, but you really should prioritize having light. That's really important. Finally, for the last tip I'd give you guys is that you should edit your photos, definitely. A lot of people say, oh, it's film, so I don't edit it because I want it to be authentic or whatever, but I think for night photos, it always looks better when you edit them. You can always make the clarity negative so that there's more glow, or you can add exposure so that the lights are a little bit more flashy and the highlights are a little bit more flashy. And I'd say that even if it's film, you should edit because it'll really improve yourself as a photographer, and also it'll help you find your style. So I think that wraps it up for all my tips for night photography. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you have any more questions for night photography and getting that glow look. Hopefully I answered all your questions, and thank you so much, and give me a like and subscribe for more videos, and also follow my Instagram and TikTok because I post over there every single day. And yeah, thank you so much. See you guys.